Okay, so I think we can start now. Thank you for your patience. So my name is Elena Ponti-Aragon. I am the coordinator for the dual degree program here at ESCP. Today, I'm glad to have two of my colleagues with me, Eliane Klockenbrink from the program office. Thank you for joining us. And Leslie Scatterling from Student Affairs. So we are going to start by introducing the program and a few elements that are important for you. And so please hold your question. You can start typing the questions as they come to your mind or during the presentation, but we are going to wait until the end of the presentation before answering the questions. If we pause sometimes, it's just because there's some icons we're not familiar with. For me, it's the first time I'm using this technology for the webinar, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. So it's going to be really quick. We're going to spend most of the time answering to you. All right, so let's get started then. First, we like to go through the general structure of the Master in Management. We know most of you already got this information in the fact sheet. So every time we mention something that's in the fact sheet, you will see this little icon on the right-hand side of the screen. If any of you have not received yet the fact sheet or do not remember getting this at some point in time, then please just let me know, and I can send it after the webinar together with the slides. So this is a Master in Management program. It's a 2 years program. The general structure is that the students join us from a pre-master year or a bachelor degree, or they do the 9 prerequisite courses before joining us on the first year of the program. On their first year, students have a core curriculum composed of 10 core courses. And on their second years, they can do a specialization or choose elective courses. So the customized curriculum comes on the second year of the master. The language of instruction is both English and French, or French. And students admitted from our partner institutions on the dual degree program, they are admitted as M1 students on the year they register, so the year before they arrive, they register as M1 students. And once they come to the campus, they are registered as M2 students. What is going to happen now in the coming month is that the teams are going to analyze your previous studies to check whether you have the equivalence of all the prerequisites to be an M2 student. And that includes the prerequisite courses and the core courses. Some of you might know already, because depending on the partner institution, in some cases, students all have the same kind of previous studies, and they all have a bachelor in management. And in that case, we know already in advance that the 9 prerequisite courses will be validated. In some other cases, the candidates from a same partner institution have different backgrounds. So in that case, we need to analyze them one by one. And then we will get in touch with you to let you know, based on the documents that you have provided, the transcripts, what kind of courses will be compulsory for you in order to then be able to continue your studies here as an M2 student. So this may include or not, depending on your individual study plan. That's what you can see in this slide. And I like to insist in the individual study plan, because the first thing that happens, especially if you come from a partner institution where there's a few students joining us on the same academic year, is that you start comparing with your peers whether you have the same courses or not that are compulsory when you join us here at ESCP. Just be aware that the reason for not having the same courses, and that's why we call it individual study plan, is that if you did a bachelor in economics and your peer did a bachelor in marketing, you will probably have different prerequisites to do with us. Okay. But all the detailed information on this will come in the coming months. So you will get all these details, and you will be able to ask questions if you have doubts, and even before that, do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions on that. So what will be asked of you in order to graduate from the Master in Management? So the M1 year, by the time you arrive, will be validated. In order to validate it for some of you, we will just make an equivalence of your previous studies with everything up to the first year. For some of you, it will include some courses that will be compulsory when you attend courses here at the ESCP. And some will have everything validated, and you will start doing your second year with us without any obligation. And once you are here with us, you will have to validate 45 ECTS of management courses. And this might include or not core courses and electives. 2 seminars equivalent to 2 ECTS. 2 French language courses equivalent to 2 ECTS, 1 per semester. So 1 ECTS per semester. Those of you who are already fluent in French and can prove that, just please get in touch and we will validate the French for you, but you will have to submit some documents in order to prove that. And you will also have to validate your master thesis. You will register in the master thesis with us unless your home institution obliges you to do the master thesis with them. So if you are in doubt, just ask your coordinator at your home institution. For the rest of students, well, the usual way to do this is to enroll here at ESCP upon arrival, and you will spend the whole year working with a supervisor from our school on your master thesis and defend it at the end of the academic year. And it's worth 16 ECTS and it's mandatory. And last but not least, you will need to validate 4 ECTS of professional experience, which is the equivalent of 40 weeks of full-time work experience. Just know that if you check the handbook, work experience outside your home country is recommended, but it's not mandatory. It is for the rest of our students, but not for you as dual degree students. So let's get a bit more into the details of the professional experience criteria. Students must validate at least 40 weeks of full-time experience to graduate. Each experience should last a minimum of 8 weeks. And our career center at ESCP can help you find an internship. We will get more into the details of all this on your first couple of weeks with us when you arrive. But you will be able to access with your students login to our career center. You will have access to job offers, but you also have access to the team at the career center. You will be able to set up appointments with them to work on your CV. If you want to work, for instance, in France, you will be able to adapt it to the local job market. You will be able to ask questions, work on your career plan. But most of these will be explained in detail by a colleague from the career center on your first couple of weeks with us. You're right. The only thing you need to know is that if you have previous work experience, and this is again something you will see in the handbook, for the regular students, so not dual degree students, but the rest of the students, we are able to validate a maximum of 16 weeks of experience before enrolling in the program. That is not the case for you as dual degree students. So there's no limit to the number of weeks of previous work experience we are able to validate for you. Just bring with you any documents you have from your work experiences and wait to be here with us before trying to start the process of validating it, because we need to provide you some more information on that. Sorry about that. So the intranet is called My School. you have access through the login details that you received when you were confirmed after paying your registration fees. So if you are not used to do that, then please get in the coming month into the habit of visiting your ESCP email address to check on the emails that you're going to be receiving on that email address. At some point in time, we will stop completely using your personal email address to contact you, and all the official communication coming from anybody, any department from the school will go to this student address, the ESCP address. So make sure to either consult it regularly or to forward all your email to your personal address if you are not going to consult it. So when you log in on the intranet, you will find some relevant information, including the student handbooks. Here's the path to get to the student handbooks. There's a lot of information on the intranet, so it is normal that at the beginning sometimes it is difficult to find the information. So spend some time on it, but if you're looking for something and you cannot find it, don't hesitate to contact me. And the link to the Career Center, the job teaser portal mentioned before, is also there. As I mentioned before, this presentation will be shared with you, so you don't need to take notes. Don't worry about that. You'll get this on an email. Well, this is one of the questions that is coming in regularly now, and it's normal because you're starting to prepare your stay with us. For now, we don't have yet the dates. We have some references that we can give to you in terms of what is the tentative schedule or the calendar based on our previous dates, and this is a bit of a tentative calendar. So during the first weeks of September, there is the intensive French seminar. This is before the regular French classes start. Before that, and it's not mentioned here, but I will probably add it to the slides I'm going to share with you. Those of you who need to take prerequisite courses, those start normally in class mid-August, but they start even earlier online, as early as mid-July, I would say. So I will add this information on the slides before sharing them with you. Just also know that you're not all concerned. Some of you will be, and the moment where you will know that is when you will receive your individual study plan mentioned before. Then classes go on from mid-September to mid-December. Mid-December you will have your exams for the full semester, and then you will have some holidays. And we'll start again in January, probably very early in 2021. We don't have yet the dates, but it's likely to be either the first week of January or the second. And then classes go on until the end of April, followed by the exams, late April, if we stick to a similar calendar. Just know that one of the usual questions is, am I done at the end of April after the exams? Well, no. Because for those of you doing the thesis with us, you still have to continue working on the thesis, submit it, and then defend it. And the oral defense of the thesis is in June. And also, if you need to take any receipt exams, those are in June as well. So just make sure not to book 1 year in advance your flight back end of April, because you don't know yet if you will be free from coming back to ESCP at that time. So now we're going to share some practical information, and I'm going to ask my colleague to take over from here so she can share some important information with you.
Hello everyone, it's Elena from Student Affairs Office, and I'm going to share with you some information first about visa and resident permit. So you have to know that you cannot enter, or you should not enter France under a tourist visa. So you have first, before entering France, you have to apply for a visa on Campus France. So you do all the procedure to ask for a visa on Campus France, and you need something that is called visa VLSTS, that stands for long stay and resident permit visa for students. So you have to do that on your own, but we have a visa officer here at ESCP who is Elena Potier, who is not the Elena that has set up this webinar today. I will share with you the contact because I see it's not on the slides. So it might be easy for all of you to apply for visa through Campus France, but if you have if you are in a specific case, or if you face some issues, then you can email Elena Potier. You have to do that. We advise to do that 2 or 3 months before you enter France. And that is for entering the French territory. As for the resident permit that enable you to stay in France, you have to take care of that when you arrive in France. So again, you have on the intranet, my school, you have a tab called Student Affairs, Resident Permit, and you have here all the information about the application for the resident permit. And you can also send an email to Elena Potier if you need more support on this procedure. I go for entrances. So at ESCP, it's mandatory for all students to have a medical expenses covered, but there are different cases. If you are an European student, you must order your European health insurance card before entering France. So you can see that with your national health insurance provider, for example. If you are non-European, there is 2 cases. You will stay less than 90 days in France, so you can send us your private health insurance, or you can stay with your home country health insurance. But if you stay more than 90 days in France, then it's mandatory to register to the French health insurance through the link that I put in the slides, étudiantsétranger.amélie.fr. Note that if you plan to do an internship in France, then it's also mandatory to register to the French health insurance, and the process can be quite long, as it can take up to 2 months. So please anticipate if you plan to do an internship in France. We also ask, besides the health insurance, we also ask for personal insurance that cover you on civil liability, repatriation from abroad, medical cost abroad, and individual accidents. I put the link to our partner offer that cover you on those risk for 1 year for 15 euros. So you can go through the guide and see the link. Okay, so that was for insurances. As for the housing, we have a specific housing platform here at ESCP Paris for you. You have the link in the slide, so it's housing.escpeurope.eu that gather different accommodation offers that are specifically displayed to ESCP students. So I spoke about health insurance, private insurance, housing, and visa. If you have questions about those topics, you can send an email to our generic email address, studentaffairs@escp.eu, that you can find at the bottom of the slide. And you can also check our Welcome to Paris guides that more or less sum up all what I've said. Elena?
Thank you very much for that. I think the last slide we have is just an example of some frequently asked questions. Just going to try and have a look at the chat box before I continue here. Questions. Okay, so we already are receiving a lot of questions for you. That's great. All right, so let's just finish the presentation and then we'll we'll get into the details of that. So some frequently asked questions from previous students. What is the exact date of the start of courses? So again, the exact date will be communicated to each student because they're different by our program office. The dates vary depending on the individual study plan and the requirement exemption for prerequisite courses. And again, we will add the information on when prerequisite courses likely start in the slides we will share with you. It's mid-August for the courses at the school, but online courses start even earlier, so around the mid-July. Where can I find further information regarding the housing option? I think we covered that already, but your primary point of contact for this kind of questions is our Student Affairs Office, but you have the information on the links that you will find in this presentation once we share it with you. Is there a mandatory or optional French course available before the beginning of the program? There is an optional introductory French seminar, which is mentioned in the calendar, so it's beginning of September normally. And then there's mandatory French courses throughout the academic year, unless you are perfectly fluent in French, in which case we can exempt you from that. Who should students contact to confirm the courses they have to take? You don't need to contact anybody. After this presentation, you will know that it is our program office who will contact you once they have the study plan for you already ready to share, and they will be the one clarifying which course you need to take. And last, do you know the dates for course registration? So in May, around May, or maybe we will let you know, but not in March. It's too early. But later on, in a few months, you will receive a notification and instruction for the course registration. So please check your ESCP mail. By the way, I take this occasion to clarify and apologize if in some of the slides you will see ESCP Europe, and in the logo you will see ESCP Business School. Just for you to know, we had the revamp of our brand at the end of last year, and we are called now ESCP Business School, and we are still what you used to know as ESCP Europe. So we're still getting used to our new brand identity, and that's why we are more purple and less deep blue, and just a little change in the name. All right, so I think that's the end of the presentation. Let's go to your questions. All right, so we're checking the questions and and we're going to start addressing them really quickly. We're just browsing quickly through the question to see if there's several on the same topic.
Hello, sorry. Hello, everybody. I am Elena from the Master 2 program office. We have a question about specialization, from which we didn't spoke before. In fact, specialization are offered to double degree students also, but it depends if you need to take core courses, because we have to know before if the core courses may fit with the specialization. So we are going to give you an information one by one personally.
All right, that's one about professional experience. What if we already have previous experience at companies? Do we still need to complete that requisite? And is it possible to work at the same time we study? So that's two questions. So the first question, can we validate previous work experience? Yes, sure. You don't have the limits of up to 16 weeks before enrolling in the program, which is the case for regular students. So you can validate all of your previous work experience as long as it has a managerial dimension and a minimum duration of 6 weeks, as mentioned in the slides. Now, the second question, is it possible to work at the same time we study the academic year? The answer is no. Attendance to courses is mandatory, and they are not compatible with work experience at the same time. So your work experience can only happen outside the dates where courses are running. And there's another question regarding that. We have to work 40 weeks outside my country. No, you don't need to. So I'll explain it again. In order to graduate from the MIM program, you need to have validated with ESCP 40 weeks of work experience. This work experience may have happened before you joined us, or may happen after joining us. You know, some students come and finish their courses end of April and then start an internship that goes on until the end of the academic year to complete their previous work experience. Some have no work experience and they extend that even further. So it really depends on your case, but you can validate your previous work experience and you don't need to do the 40 weeks in your country or in France or anywhere. It could be in different countries. It could be anywhere in the world.
Can I finish all my courses in December? I remind you that you are at ESCP for 2 semesters and you need 2 semesters to complete all the courses needed to get the ECTS required. Even if you chose a specialization can give you up to usually 16 ECTS, and obviously it's not enough. The course choice period, as previously said, will take place around mid-May. And if you want to take a specialization, I see that some of you already checked the list of our specializations. It may be possible, provided you don't need core courses which don't fit with the specialization. The process for specialization will be one by one by email with your program officer.
What if I have a job contract until end of August and I have to do prerequisite courses? Well, I guess you will have to negotiate that with your employer. Yes. So contact us because that is like an individual.
But be aware that very few of you are required to take prerequisite courses. Usually, it depends of your background, of course.
Is the French course mandatory? I think we addressed that already. If you already have are fluent in French and you have taken an exam, then just let us know.
About the details about specialization, you can check the syllabi of the specialization, which you can find in your intranet in MIM program courses specializations. So don't hesitate to go there and check the specific program of each specialization.
Regarding the calendar, I think we already shared some information in the slides. But again, we will share this with you after the webinar, so you will have this information. And for now, it's tentative, but as soon as we have the confirmed academic calendar, we will be able to share that with you.
About the process of taking up the thesis, you can, if you want to take your thesis with us at ESCP, you have an information in your intranet, and you'll be required to register officially in November on your intranet and find a tutor for your master thesis, and then write your thesis along the year and defend your thesis by the beginning of June.
And for those of you who have they are obliged to submit the thesis at your home institution, we will just let you know what you need to do after that in order to validate it with us as well. Again, we will go through all the important themes when you arrive here at the ESCP. You will have a meeting with all of us, and you will be able to clarify any doubts. So this is, well, we're covering a lot of topics. Just want you to have a basic understanding, or so that if you have any pressing matters, you can let us know. So normally the fee for the second year comes, I think, in October, November, because historically that's when we used to finalize our recruitment. So by that time, normally all the candidates will have been admitted to the program. They will have paid the registration fee for the first year. So for the second year, it's 1 year later. So it's more or less around that time.
About the choice of electives, some of you probably already checked on the internet again in courses selection process and syllabi overview. What you are able to find in syllabi overview is a catalog of our courses. This doesn't mean that we are going to offer all the courses which are in the catalog. So you can have a look and check which courses would interest you, but you have to wait until the beginning of May, I presume, to get the official lists which are going to be proposed for the coming fall semester. The choice for elective courses for the spring semester the selection process for the spring semester will be in November. There is no prerequisite for the specialization. The maximum number you can do in one semester, you have to do 45 ECTS as management courses, including core courses, elective courses, and specialization courses, and plus language courses, seminars, master thesis, and what else? That's all.
And then there is a question about European citizens, do they need a visa and a resident permit for long-term stay in France? The answer is no. As European, you don't need these documents. These documents are only for non-European students. And I will give you the link to the site where you have to apply for the visa.
How can we find out which prerequisite courses? You don't need to find out. You will be communicated this by our program office in due time. Other French courses for advanced level. We will have to check what is that you call advanced levels. You will take an exam. When you arrive here, you will take an exam, and the language department will assess your level of French, and students are then configured in groups depending on their starting level. So that's how it works. So we're not going to get into the details of the content of the program here, like somebody's asking about the finance orientation. You can maybe send us a message, an email. As per the documents you need to validate the work experience, I will also send you a document explaining which documents we may require from you to validate the work experience. So that I think you have this information on the internet. But, we'll share it. So yes, you need to validate the 40 weeks of work experience no matter what. So if you are starting from known work experience, if you want to finish as soon as possible, maybe you can start as soon as you finish this year your courses at your home institution. You can start having your work experience even before joining us.
Okay, so do we help you getting your working permit for non-European students? Is part of the process of the resident permit. You have I have to ask the visa officer, Elena, but you have a certain time of work that is allowed within your resident permit. So I just check that and I can send an answer to you, Elena. Yeah, something like that. Because I don't have in mind the exact number of weeks that you're allowed to work. But yes, it's something where we can help you with.
So there are some questions like, what are the top recruiters for internships? We have nobody here from the career center, so unfortunately we cannot help you with that. What is the likelihood to be hired? Honestly, the quick question the quick answer to that, from having heard my colleagues talking about these two students. So again, I'm not. We have nobody here from the career center who will be in the best position to answer that. But if you're looking for an internship in France, what's going to be the key to that is going to be that you need to be fluent in French in order to have more chances to get an internship here. Why? Because it's not enough to just speak English. There's a lot of students, international students, that speak English and also French. So if you're going to be competing for the same internships with them and you don't speak French, then of course you will get less chances to get an internship here. That's the quick answer. Somebody's also asking, will the school close if the current situation of COVID-19 doesn't get improved? For now, we are not making any assumption on what's going to happen from now until mid-August, because the truth is that nobody knows. But we are all working to make sure everything is ready for you to come here, because if we don't do that, then you won't be able to start your courses with us. So as the things evolve in the following weeks, if there's anything important that we need to communicate to you, you will be communicated as the rest of the students. Now you are a registered student at ESCP, so any official communication from the school will also arrive to your student email. So please make sure to check that. But for now, there's no concern on starting the courses in September here in Paris.
Next question: how many electives do we need to take in one semester? In order to get 55 ECTS of management courses, you need to take around 150 hours per semester, the maximum being in any case 180 hours. Can I only study at Paris campus? Very few of dual degree students may go on or ask to go on other campuses than Paris, but the condition to apply for another campus is in any case not to have any core course to take, because the core courses are not don't fit with the other courses on the European campuses. When will we know the personal exact starting data? You will receive a personal email according to the requirements about prerequisite and core courses. So don't worry, you'll be aware of the starting data.
I'm not sure I'm getting the question right, but there's a question about when you need to defend the thesis as compared to the work experience requirement. There's no, they're completely separate in the sense that the thesis have a specific calendar if it's defended here at ESCP. The calendar starts at the beginning of the academic year in September when you register, when you arrive, and it finishes in June when you do the oral defense. As to the work experience, is completely separate. There's no, I mean, you may be working by the time you are defending the thesis and even beyond that. So no, the only thing you need to consider regarding the work experience is that in order to graduate at the end of the academic year, you will have to submit all the documents by mid-September at the very latest, because the graduation jury takes place in the first week of October. I'm talking about October 2021, right?
Are there any specialization that can be selected that would allow to combine work and study? Eventually, little jobs, but not in any case, not an internship is not. It's not possible to combine study with an internship.
Next question is about health insurance fees. Are they covered by school fees? The answer is no. If you take a private health insurance, you have to pay by yourself. If you register to the French health insurance, the national health insurance, in many cases it's free, even for foreign students. So yes, in that case it's free.
Okay, somebody's asking how do we approach the professor to get us for the master thesis before the term starts? Please write an email to our master thesis colleagues. I will include the email address in the email I will send after the presentation.
What about health insurance during internship? Also, when we do internship along with studies, I would let my colleagues answer that. About health insurance during internship, as I said, if you want to intern in France, you must be registered to the French health insurance, and I have gave the link in the presentation through Étudiants Étrangers. It is valid for non-European students. For European students, if you want to intern in France, you have to ask for your European health insurance card, which is also mandatory if you want to enter France. And I will add about the work permit, the question about the working permit for non-European students. My colleague answered me, and for internship, it's not an issue. You don't need any work permit. If you want to work in France, you are allowed with your resident permit to work for 964 hours per year, which is more or less a 6 months contracts, work contracts.
And regarding the question about doing an internship along with studies, the answer is not during your courses. So attendance to courses is mandatory. I think you have a maximum of 2 absences that has to be justified, that are admitted per course, which means if you miss more than 2 classes for one course, you will not be able to sit the exam, and therefore you will fail that course. So no, the curriculum was not created to have students both doing internship and enrolled in courses at the same time. You may start your internship as soon as you finish your courses, so, and not before the end of April. Regarding the French language, if you already are fluent in French, you can either provide a certificate if you have, or if not, you can just wait until you arrive here and register, do the tests, and then that will be enough to justify your level of French.
Next question, if I get a job in my country right after the academic year, do I have to come back after 40-week experience to get the degree? So for you to know, you are going to study at ESCP from September 2020 to April 2021. If you don't have a previous experience, the earlier you can graduate is in February 2022. And knowing that we have 3 graduation jury a year and only 1 graduation ceremony where you get the official degree, and the ceremony is taking place each year in February. So, but you are not obliged to come back. We may also send you your diploma, of course.
Yes, I can answer that. So there are different scholarships at ESCP. You can apply depending on your nationality. We have scholarships for French people and European people, and other for international students. International students have to contact the international admissions department. It's a bit complicated, so maybe the easier is that I put all the information in the presentation that Elena will share with you, with all the different email address that you have to contact depending on your case.
Somebody told us that the syllabus of the new specialization are not available in the intranet course specialization. I think it's not the case. Normally all the syllabus are now available in course specialization. Just have a look, but you should be able to find them. And as a resume, to answer another question, you need to take 2 semesters of classes plus 40 weeks of internship if you don't have any professional experience already. It's not enough to study only 1 semester at ESCP.
I'm not sure about, somebody asked, are there tutors in ESCP? I'm not sure what that means. If you're referring to the thesis, well, if you're for the thesis here at ESCP, you will have a supervisor that is a faculty from ESCP. I'm not sure if that was the question. How many hours a day we have courses? Well, it really depends on your schedule and the courses you're going to be taking. Are there exceptions to the attendance because I need to return home for a few days to receive my diploma? You will have to use your admitted absences in order to do that, and you will need to justify your absence, as I said. So maybe contact me when the time comes, so I will let you know.
Is it possible to get a working visa after finishing our main program? The answer is very specific and depends upon your case. So you will have to contact our visa officer, Elena, regarding this.
When do we receive the mail with personal study plan? We are going, myself and Malin Mengual, to write you very soon, in about 8 or 10 days. So we are going to take contact personally with each of you. So what are the next steps now? Check your ESCP email mailbox and to receive our first email concerning your study plan. And we are going to ask you to send us your transcripts for your current and previous studies. So prepare already your transcript to gain time, and so that we receive them very soon. What about the stay in Paris during weeks of work after June? In any case, no.
Do we get the dorm? I think she's maybe talking about the accommodation, whether they are able to extend the student accommodation beyond the month of June.
Yes, it depends which kind of accommodation you have, student residencies, private flats. I cannot really answer, but yes, why not?
Why can't we take an internship and study? Because this is how the program was conceived. So there are some other programs, and we do have partner institutions where students come from a program where they work during the day and they take their classes at the end of the day and in the evening. Well, this is not the case for ESCP, for the MIN program. Therefore, you may have courses in the morning, in the afternoon, and even at the end of the afternoon towards the evening, which means you will just not be able to do any regular. So the only kind of job you will be able to do during your while you're attending courses, again from September until end of April, are student jobs or weekend jobs and things like that, but not a regular, full-time job.
Someone mentioned here he did not get what was free because the audio was not working well. So what is free? I think it's what I've said about the registration to the French health insurance. So in France, when you register to the national health insurance, it's free. You have nothing to pay, even for foreigners.
Regarding the validity of your previous work experience, I confirm it. We do accept to register work experience before coming to ESCP. Experience in 2016 is acceptable, while not. It all depends on what kind of work experience you had. Was it a full-time experience? Did they have any managerial dimension? What we will not be able to validate as towards the 40 weeks of work experience are student jobs and the like. That's not what we mean when we are talking about work experience. If you have any doubts on that, just please send a message.
So a new question about if you validate core courses from your own university, you just get you get waivers for these courses, but it doesn't prevent you. It does allow you to take less courses than the others. So in any case, you have to validate. I remind you, 45 ECTS at ESCP, either core courses or and elective and specialization courses.
Can we combine the thesis with an internship? This comes from somebody who left already the webinar, I think, but the answer it depends on when in the calendar you're referring to. So the thesis is carried out throughout the year, which means it will start as soon as you register on the thesis at the beginning of the academic year, and it will last until you defend in June. So between the end of the courses, end of April and June, of course, it could be carried on at the same time. With the French courses, so I will have to confirm this with the language center, but I think you're aiming to, you can start with a beginner course, so there's pure beginner courses here at ESCP, and I'm not sure what is the maximum level you can have if you want to be enrolled in courses, even if you already have good knowledge. So we can check that and let you know. We will need to check that. It really depends. So the question is, do half the internships count? We do have some partner institutions where the curriculum is built that way. Students are enrolled in courses and they have the courses throughout the week in the evening because they work during the morning and in the afternoons. If that is your case, please do get in touch and we will check that for you. With tutors, I mean people who help us with the courses if it gets difficult. I don't think we have such a figure.
In any case, you can always go and see the teacher of your courses and ask and speak with him or her after the end of the course, but you have not dedicated tutors.
Part-time internships, no, and it's not a question of whether it's possible to find it or not, but we will not allow you to be enrolled in an internship while you have courses. So even if you try to, you will need to have an internships contract, and the department in charge of that, it will not issue an internship contract during the time you are enrolled in courses. And how many dual degree students are there this year? Around 70, if I'm not mistaken. Some of you are arriving in September, some of you are arriving in January for a January-December intake, which is the least common scenario, but there are some partner institutions that have a different academic calendar, and that's how we function with them.
And we have also students coming from abroad for only one semester. So they are not considered as dual degree students, but you may find students coming eventually from the same university than yours.
So I think it's been almost 1 hour now. We're going to try to wrap it up, unless there's some, really last couple of questions. But then, of course, we will send you the presentation, and I will also share with you all the relevant contact details so you can get in touch with the right colleagues.
One of your last question, are the specialization on the intranet the final ones? Yes. The current list of specialization is up to date for both semesters.
All right, so thank you very much for your time. I hope you found this useful. Thank you, Eliane and Leslie, for joining us today and answering all these questions. And as mentioned before, all of this will be in an email that you will receive. The contact details for some of you we have already mentioned before. You need to send a separate message because it's a specific case or somebody else needs to answer your question. And if you're in doubt, just reply to the email address dual degree at escp.edu. And all right, so thank you very much for your time, and you will be contacted in the coming weeks, and that will be your next step. So until then, there's not much for you to do other than
preparing your transcripts.
Exactly.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Ouf. Je vais faire ça. C'est dans ça.